Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video we are going to see one more inbuilt module, which is file system module in nodejs. Okay, so what exactly file system module will do is it will going to help us manipulate the file inside the nodejs project. So without any further delay, let's start the video. Yes. So as you can see, I have opened our practice application of Node.js and I have created one file called file.filesystem.js. Okay. So here we are going to use the file system module to work with that. Okay. So the first thing what we are going to do is we have to import the file system module, which is fs equal to require, and here as it is an inbuilt function, or sorry, inbuilt module, we can just say fs over here. Okay, file system. And the first thing which we are going to see how to uh, get or read the data from a file, basically any file. Right now here you see we have this is a new text added over here in the document.txt. We are trying to read this data from our this program basically. Okay, so the first thing what I'm going to do is here fs dot read. Okay, read file, and you see there are two methods. Okay, read file and read file sync. So read file is a asynchronous function and read file sync is a synchronous function. If you use read file, it will not going to block your code, but if you are going to use read file sync, it will going to block your code or the process basically. Right now we are going to use sync only. Okay, and inside that we have two parameters. The first name is the file name, okay, which is document.txt, comma, then the content. Okay, no, not the content, the encoding value. Okay, so we need the encoder as utf-8. Okay, and once we read this, we have to store it in a variable. So for that, I'll say let data equal to the whole thing. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'll just print this data here. Data from a file is comma data. Now we are going to run this. Okay, so let's say node and file tab, enter, and now you see here data from this file, and the data is this is new text added, which is inside the document.txt. And it is not only the txt file, you can add any file and you can get the content from it. Okay, let's say index.js. Okay, let's see what is content, what the content we have inside that index.js. Let me run again, and you see now this is the content. From here to here we have inside the index.js. So basically using this method and the file system, we can read any file's data. Okay, yes. So the next thing we are going to see how to replace the data from a file. So now you see we have this text here and we are going to try to replace this content. Okay, let's see how we can do that. So we'll say fs dot, okay, and we'll say write file, and here also we have two synchronous, which is write file, asynchronous is write file and synchronous is write file sync. Okay, and we are going to use that, and I'll say document.txt, and the content we are going to change it with icube. Okay, that's the text we are going to replace with. And here we don't need to have let data or anything like this. Okay, we just need to put this, and now we can just run this file here. Now you see it's not returning anything, but it has updated the text inside document.txt. The same way it can replace the text inside the other files as well, but we don't need to try that, but this is how we can do it. Okay, yes. So now let's see how we can append the text into a file. Okay, so for that what we have to do is we have to do fs dot append, and we have append file and append file sync. Okay, asynchronous and synchronous. So let's say synchronous for now, and the first name, first parameter will be our file name. Okay, then the second parameter will be the text. Okay, so what I'll say is first let's say new line. Here is the new text added. Okay, this is the text I want to append it. Okay, and here also we don't need let data or anything, we just need to run the file. I'll run the file. Let's go to the document.txt, and you see the content is added over here. Okay, So this is how we can append the text into the file. Yes. So now let's see how we can rename a file. Okay. So we can do fs dot rename, and it has also two things, rename and rename sync. Okay. So right now let's use rename sync, and we will say here what file we want to rename. Let's say document dot txt to the new name. Okay. New file dot txt, and let's save and let's run this. Okay. And now you see here, the file name changed to new file.txt and the content will remain same. So this is how we can rename a file. Yes. So let's see how we can delete a file. Okay. So delete, in order to delete that, what we have to do is we have to use fs.unlink function. Okay. Unlink, which is a synchronous, asynchronous function, and unlink sync is a synchronous function. Okay. Let's use unlink sync, and inside that we can give the file name. So I'll say new file.txt, which is this one. So let's save it and let's run this. Now you see the file is got deleted from here. Okay. So this is how we can delete a file. Yes. So there is one more thing about the replacing of the data from a file. Okay. We can use this to create a file as well. Right now you see there is no document.txt inside our folder structure. Let me just zoom in like this. You can see we don't have the document.txt. So now what we can do is we can just run our this file, and the file will be created automatically with this content whatever we have provided here. Okay, so you see here icubecode coming document.txt. This is the one of the ability of the write file. Okay. Yes. Now let's see how we can create a directory using file system. Okay. For that we just need to use fs dot mkdir. Okay. And here also we have asynchronous and synchronous function. We can use that, and we can mention the folder name. Okay, the folder name, let's say src. Okay, and comma, and then what we have to do here is we can have recursive true. Okay, and let's run this node and this file, and now you see it created a src folder over here. Okay, so this is how we can create a directory. Yes. So let's see the last thing from the FS, the file system, which is how we can read the current file path files and the directory. So we are in the current file path, which is this one, and how we can read this file. What are, like, not the content, but what are all files and the directories are exist in the current path. We can check that. Okay. So let's say file system dot read dir. Okay, reader, and which is like reader and reader sync we can use, and here we can just provide the path, which is dot slash right now, and we have to store it in a data. Okay, and let's log this data. Now if I run the file, you will see it is showing this file we have document file index, nodejs is a directory, we have package.json files, and src as a directory. So all the things which are exist inside the current directory, it is showing here. Okay. Yes. So with this we conclude the file system module. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please consider subscribing, give it a like. I'll be back with more content in the next video. Thank you.